Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to a delightful episode. I cannot wait to introduce you to Jeff, who is one of the new owners of Clik-Clik Systems. So I was able to meet Jeff very briefly at Float, and I found it so interesting that he and his business partner had recently purchased Clik-Clik Systems. So these are the magnets. This is all of the tools we use to rig safely from ceilings. If you are not familiar with Clik-Clik, holy cow, you have a lot of learning to do. This is one of my most valued tools in my toolkit when it comes to hanging balloons. And I found it so interesting, this idea that someone from outside of the balloon world had purchased a company and now was in the balloon community. It was a really great conversation with Jeff, learning about where he came from, why he and his partner decided to purchase this company. He also talks about other companies they had their eye on. So it's just a fascinating conversation. I am very curious about buying and selling businesses. I don't know much about it. So it was really nice that Jeff was so honest and open about the process. And man, I just like this guy a lot. Immediately, I have a new friend, and I am so excited to welcome him to our community and to introduce him to you in this episode. So without further ado, let's head over to the UGlue hotline for some great advice that sticks, and then meet Jeff, the new owner, one of the new owners of Clik-Clik Systems. Welcome to the UGlue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks, brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, my name is Telia from Tickle Teals Entertainment, a small town 3.5 hours north of Toronto in Canada. I partner with the hospice, with local charities, and I actually collect balloon bouquets from past clients and donate them to charities. So I kind of built a really great community, and moms bringing back balloons. I can reinflate them. I give to charities. I give garlands as well, different charities as well. It makes me look good as a business. It benefits the charity. It makes the parents and the events feel great that they can donate and that they're being reused. It's recycling. I don't know. We're a balloon business. We can make people happy. This is the one chance that we can really create a great community and build up your business. So, yeah, there's my tip.
Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, UGlue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on UGlue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. All right, welcome to this episode. Jeff from Clik-Clik, you are one of the new owners of Clik-Clik, a product that I swear it's the reason my business exists. I can't do anything without magnets. So we are chatting with you about the history of Clik-Clik, the new future of Clik-Clik, your involvement, all things Clik-Clik. So before we jump in, give us an introduction. Who are you?
Yeah, thanks so much, Sarah. First of all, super excited to be on the podcast. We are new to the industry. Again, my name is Jeff, sales manager here at Clik-Clik. I have a business partner, Chris. He covers the operations side of the business. And we came into this business about December of last year. So we're about 6 months in, I guess, at this point, and having a great time, learning a lot. We did not come from the industry. I came from a technology background, and my business partner, Chris, came from an insurance operational background. So this is all brand new to us. But of course, as you mentioned, the company's been around for a long, long time. It was founded by Rabina Bernard, probably about a little over 20 years ago. Of course, this is about her third or fourth business in the balloon industry. So, she has a long, long history there too, but saw a need and built some really cool sort of innovative products and, had built a really neat business around it as well.
That's cool. And if anyone's listening and doesn't know what Clik-Clik is. How do you explain it? I can say the products I use, but what do you say to people?
Yeah, so great question. So I mean, from our perspective, and are going through new sort of simplified branding, but for us, we are hanging made simple. So really, what we do is we provide a system and a set of tools that allow you to hang decor simply, effectively, fast, and all with keeping your feet safely on the ground. So that means faster installs for you, faster takedowns, which hopefully improves your profitability, but also keeps you and your staff really, really safe. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing.
Yeah, I love it. And Clik-Clik is not exclusive to balloons though, right? Did it start with retail or like give us a history, give us a crash course here.
Yeah, happy to do that. So Rabina Bernard was a teacher. I think you have some shared history there. Teacher and moved to kind of balloon decor and was a decorator. Back in the 80s, and essentially then moved from that to kind of wholesale balloons. And during that time, found a bunch of challenges in the industry. Really, she didn't have access to helium all the time, and really needed to find ways of hanging balloons cost effectively, but the tools just weren't out there. And she didn't want to stay up a ladder. She wanted to stay safe. So she invented, things like our mag mover and designed the magnets and the mag pulls, et cetera. And even loop line, which is another really interesting kind of tool. And then built this Clik-Clik business around it. And so that's really sort of where it came from. And now that said, she did come from the balloon industry, but to your point, she found a really nice niche in the retail signage space or commercial signage space as well. So if you look in in the US, if you look at like sort of Albertsons or Walmart, even you may look up and see Clik-Clik magnets. You may see Clik-Clik loop line as well. And so yeah, we're really lucky to enjoy a couple of different markets here, but the home and really the founding of this business was really in the balloon industry. And so we're super excited to be a
Yeah,
part of it,
oh,
and we continue to be.
that's so interesting. I figured it was the other way around. I figured like, oh, clearly this started in retail because they hang so many signs, and then we figured it out. We found it in balloons, but oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really kind of cool, and it's nice that it found a home there. But we have other products that are very, very specific to the balloon industry too. Our balloon bond, balloon tip. We've got tab guards and a bunch of other things that are very, very specific. But we're lucky enough to enjoy the fact that mag pulls, mag movers, loop line. They all sort of transcend the industry lines.
I hang everything with magnets. So I'm sure people are listening and they're going to start cracking up. So the running joke with balloon people is like you use 260s to fix like everything. Like you'll hang something in your garden with a 260 or fix something. But for me, it's magnets. Like I have my oven mitts hanging on my oven with magnets. I have everything's hung with the Clik-Clik magnets. They're just everywhere. And I just had like I had a little reel go, viral for me, showing how to use it on pipe and drape. And I think it's one of those products that like people just are like, oh my gosh, there's so many ways to use these magnets. I love them. I'm obviously a fan. I think they're so cool, but the safety is cool. Like what you mentioned, staying off ladders, being able to hang without getting up there and, putting a paper clip into the ceiling or something like that. That's what I think is the beauty of the product.
Yeah, I think so. To your earlier point, like people come up with some really, really creative uses that I'm sure Rabina herself didn't think were going to happen using on pipe and drape. And I saw that Instagram post. So thank you for that. It was fantastic. But yeah, I mean, people have even used it between single pane windows in some cases. We see it used in the flower industry as well. So we kind of broadly talk about decor. But you're right. Like the safety aspect is a big aspect. I mean, there's according to the American Orthopedic Association, there's like 500,000 ladder accidents or ladder treatments every year
Yeah.
for Americans. And so, in fact, we haven't been in this business. We've been here for about 6 months, but we actually had a call right after float where we got to meet you, by the way, and right after float by somebody who was just recently exposed to our product, thought they'd make the investment, was kind of holding off because sometimes it is a significant investment. And then we got a call from them later saying they were going on an install, they fell off a ladder, and that was enough, and they were going to invest in the solution. So we were, it's unfortunate that a fall had to precipitate that, but we were super happy that like we can start keeping folks like that safe.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's take a quick break and then I want to learn more about you.
Great.
Are you ready to take your balloon business to the next level? Look no further than Having a Party Wholesale, your ultimate destination for all things balloons. Having a Party Wholesale is on the cutting edge of new products that will wow your clients, from top brands like Tuftex, Jamar, Anagram, Ellie's, Sempertex, Premium Conwin, and introducing Brookloon, a new balloon line created by the Having a Party family. They've got the widest selection to fuel your creativity. Join the successful league of professional balloon artists who shop at havingaparty.com. All right, welcome back. So I want to talk about getting into this industry, because you basically purchased this company with your partner. And coming from outside of balloons, I'm always fascinated, like, how did you find us? Like, how did this happen? How do you get up to speed with balloons? Because it seems like such an odd niche.
Yeah, so great question. I think we didn't do it with intention. If I was to be completely transparent, we were looking for a business that sort of checked off a bunch of things for us, a bunch of criteria for us. And we looked at a bunch of these businesses and we started to research them. And then we sort of narrowed down to a small group, and then really sort of started to focus in on Clik-Clik, because we felt like there was a very strong sort of innovative product. There was a long, deep, sort of rich history with it. And we really felt like it would, we could leverage our skills, my skills in sales and marketing and my partner's skills in operations, to be able to give it, to level up and really give it a turbocharge and sort of reintroduce it. So that's kind of how we kind of came about the business. It was kind of a long process. We started we started probably last February or so. We came together and said, I'm not really happy in my technology sort of role. I've been there for 20 years. Chris wasn't really happy with insurance. He had kind of been there, done that as well. And we said, like, let's give this a shot. We were lucky. Both of our spouses were like, this is the right time. Go for it. Like, take a risk, and supported us. And so we just started doing the research, trying to figure out what would go into buying a business, and then looking at them and trying to find them. And that's how we arrived here.
So is this the first business that you've purchased?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Very first one. Yeah. It was. Now, in sort of corporate, in the corporate world, I did deal with partnerships. So I was involved in kind of acquisition at a corporate level, but certainly not to the degree touching on all of the kind of factors that go into buying a business yourself. So
well, it's interesting, because I met you at Float, but I wasn't sure if I was like, are you just here to kind of like check it out, and then we'll never see you again? Like, I don't know. Sometimes people buy up a whole bunch of businesses and they're just the owners and they're not involved. But it sounds like you're like pretty involved. This is like this is your thing now.
We are entrenched there. This is a big deal for us, and we're very excited. We were at Float for a reason. We were so happy we went, by the way. We met so many great people who knew the brand and were loyal, people who were new to the brand, and we were just introducing them to the product. But, that gave us a real sense for the community and what the community expects of us as the new owners of Clik-Clik. And so, it was exciting, great opportunity for us.
Was there anything at Float that surprised you? Anything that you were just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea?
There were people that would come up to our booth and say, and look at our stuff and go, I have one of those, 3 of those, 2 of those, what's that? And then, and they were kind of looking at it, and it was like really warm, and they just actually really loved what we were doing. And that was kind of maybe the biggest, coming from a technology, we walk in, I'm selling you like banking software to do, it's got kind of tired. This was like just exciting. And it was, there were a lot of surprising things at Float, but that was really, really great. I mean, what you as artists are able to accomplish was like it was just amazing to us. And we sat there with our jaws on the floor, looking at some of your creations.
Yeah. Well, that showroom this year was massive. There were so many people in there. I was like, oh my gosh. And so I'm glad I ran into you. I like kind of stumbled in the corner. I was like, hi, who are you?
So you know what, you say this, I will tell you that we have ambassadors that work for us, and I'll give them a shout out. Carrie and Barry James. They have Carrie's Party for Less, just half an hour away from our office here in Brantford. And they were like, once we got into the industry, like they've been great about sort of they're our support. They're our channel to understand what's going on and what matters. And they were like, look, you got to talk to Sarah. Like, if you can, like, you listen, you gotta, if you have it, and they're huge fans of yours. So
They're
anyways,
the
big shout out
best.
to them.
I like sat with them just on coincidence, sat with them at one of the final nights afloat two years ago. So not this past one, but the one before. And oh my gosh, it was just we were drinking wine, having fun, cracking up. They're like throwing out click like gems along the way.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome. They are just such great people to have on your team.
We couldn't ask for folks who were more dedicated to the Clik-Clik brand and really and helping us evangelize it. And so we're so lucky to have them on board. And quite frankly, like, I don't think we could have done this without them.
Yeah.
We met them during our due diligence as we were acquiring the business, and like that helped to lock us down for it.
Well, and I think something we talked about before we started recording, I think something that's interesting is like our industry is really young. Like if we think of Treb Heining as starting balloon decor, he's still doing it. Like even the person who invented it is still practicing. I don't know what to say. Like,
Yeah.
he's still working in the industry. So it's not like many people have retired or sold businesses, even these like the businesses that aren't like decor, the supplemental, like Clik-Clik.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of these are family businesses and kind of maybe go to next generation. But this idea of just like selling a business and someone new being, brought into the balloon industry, it hasn't happened very much. So you're kind of one of the first, I think.
That's really interesting. And I think what you'll see, I mean, even as we were shopping for businesses, I think what you'll see is probably you'll see that a little bit more, like the demographics kind of play out in that way. And what we found was that there were a ton of businesses out there that were for that folks that it was their livelihood, it was their baby, but they were ready to retire, right? And it was a lot of work. They were ready to retire, and their kids, because their kids saw mom and dad working in that business. They kind of, even when it's a great business, they're kind of like, maybe I want to try. So there's all these great businesses that are out there. And I think we might see some of that shift here but I mean, to your point, like there's that was one of the surprising things we saw with the industry too. Like there's this whole new generation of balloon artists that have come in through COVID that we really need to expose to the brand, and and the value that we can bring. But there's a lot of longstanding, folks who have been around long that know us, believe in us. But they'll be passing the torch at some point too, and there's probably opportunities for those who are hunting for a business.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's something. Again, I don't want to speak for everybody, but most of us kind of bootstrapped our businesses. We started with a bag of balloons, we grew into a space, we got some employees, and we kind of grew these balloon businesses kind of from nothing. So the idea of like what you just said, shopping for a business is really novel. That's really interesting. You might have mentioned this. Did you go through a broker or?
I didn't mention it, but I should have. And
Okay.
and it's a great question. So we did go through a broker. We shop, and that's because we were sort of industry agnostic in some sense. Like we were just looking for the right business. And now that said, if you have a passion for a particular industry and you feel like you can do good things, like you don't have to go through a broker. What we found was, even as we were talking to people about the fact that we're looking for, all of a sudden people would come out of the woodwork and say, you might want to talk to Jane over there or Joe over there, because they're selling their business, they're kind of done and they were thinking about it, and if you want to talk to them, like they might be interested in doing it. And those conversations can be great. Like there's definitely, working with a broker is definitely a double-edged sword. In one sense, like they're preparing the sellers properly, so you get a bunch of the stuff that you need. On the other sense, they certainly know how to drive a hard bargain and to drive up demand. So once they have one interested party, they can start to wrangle in others, not unlike like buying a house, in a competitive market, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's so cool. Something I know nothing about, but I'm definitely very curious. I'm just curious, were there any other businesses that you had your eye on? Like, just because you weren't, like you said, you weren't industry agnostic, or which one?
I
were
were
industry agnostic.
Yeah.
You like, was there anything else like, oh, we almost bought a cheesecake factory?
It's super. So I'll tell you, there's a couple like funny ones. Like one was like, so we're up here in Canada, the land of like bagged milk and like ketchup chips. And up here we have like beer stores too, right? Like it's like, that's where you get your beer. Well, in these beer stores, they have like, they have snacks in there, and the snacks and all of a sudden we've stumbled on this company that actually does the snacks in the beer store. And
Oh,
we were
interesting.
checking them out and we're kind of looking at, oh, that's interesting. But like, man, inventory control and wastage and all that, like, that was like a bit scary. So we kind of stepped away from that one. We looked at a business that did like sea containers, like that you see, huge sort of, people ship things overseas on them,
Okay.
and they were retrofitting them into like mini houses and things like that. And so like we saw that business, which was fascinating
Cool.
too. But you need a heck of a lot of real estate for that, right? Like to put all these sea containers in your parking lot and start working on them and turning them into houses. So that one, it was neat, but
Yeah.
but not for us. So
Oh,
that's a
that's
couple
really
of them. Yeah,
cool. That
yeah.
sounds fun. Oh my gosh. So where is Click now? Like, are you in a factory? Like, where do you, I mean, I guess I don't know the size of the production.
Yeah. So we're international in scale.
Okay.
We have our production facilities in Brantford, Ontario, which is about an hour and a half, let's say, out of outside of Toronto. We'll still call ourselves sort of the Greater Toronto area, and that's where a lot of our loop line and other products are actually produced. And so we have machinery in here and staff that help us produce that. Then we have a series of international warehouses. So we've got one here. We've got one in the U.S. at Buffalo. We've got another one in Europe as well, in the Netherlands. And so combined with that, we have kind of this really like sort of deep and rich distribution network. And so we've got a series of distributors all over the world on 4 or 5 different continents. And so we're supplying Clik-Clik to the UK and to Spain and to Brazil and to Australia and to New Zealand. So it's really fun because there's all of these things, but we still consider ourselves a relatively small business, right? There's a handful of us that work here, and so yeah, we've kind of got the best of both worlds, we think.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, let's take one more break. And I want to talk about the future of Clik-Clik. Any plans you have to either keep it the same or change it up? We'll be right back.
I know a little something about you. I know you're a business owner. I know you're in the balloon decorating space. I want to tell you about the Balloon Suite Mastermind. This is a group of business owners just like you who are focused on overcoming their current challenges and reaching their sales goals. In a business mastermind, you get access to peer support, the networking with other members. We help you with accountability on your action items and goals. You learn a lot and you solve problems so that you can overcome those roadblocks that you're looking at right now in your business. The Balloon Suite Mastermind is included in most of the packages we offer at Balloon Suite, and I would love to have you come on over, check out our packages, and join the mastermind. Come to balloonsuite.com to learn more.
All right, welcome back. Now that you are the proud owner of an amazing company, what are you have in store? Like, are you changing things? Do you want to keep everything the same for a certain amount of time? What's your plan moving forward?
Yeah, so we have, of course, when you acquire a business, you've got a business plan, you've got projections, you've got, bankers that you got to take, that want to see what you're going to do with the business. For us, there's 2 pieces of it. One you sort of alluded to, which is we need to sit and we need to listen to the market. So we got a lot of feedback from Float. We continue to get feedback from customers, from distributors, in ways that we can perhaps enhance the product, things that we definitely need to keep the same because people are just love it the way it is. So there's lots of opportunities out there. Now we got to sort of boil that down a little bit and determine what are the sort of high value moves that we can make to really, provide more value to the decorators. So that's one thing that we're doing. Now we're listening to the market and trying to gather that feedback. Now, on the other hand, we also heard some things that were very strong. Some of it was, for example, hey, listen, we like your stuff, but the investment levels like kind of high. And so we'd like to see if we can try some stuff out. So we're actually releasing some new packaging and paring that down so that folks can actually, make it more accessible, really. So folks can actually try out things like our balloon bond, for example, without having to buy, a $50 or $60 box or whatever it might be, and then get comfortable with the product before they're making larger investments. And so that's one area that we're doing. We're making sure that we have some international expansion. And so, I mentioned Australia and New Zealand. We have brand new distributors there as well as the UK. So shout out to Go International and Hayden Agencies and Papillon, all awesome distributors that we've signed on recently as well. And education. Like I know you've had the Balloon Guild fellas on here, the Jonathans. We started to partner with them. We've got Bree Silvio from Elevated Impressions that we're working with, and she's helping to deliver a lot of what we need out there in the market to create awareness. Joette on Balloon Boss Summit. So there's a ton of folks that we're trying to plug into to make sure that we sort of get the message out there, but then we can also use that to capture the feedback and bring it back into the business and figure out what we need to do.
Well, you rolled out a little rebrand right away. All of a sudden on Instagram, I was like, what's this? And that was the first tip that I was like, something's happening.
Yeah, thanks for noticing. We did. We felt like, we had been, because the due diligence period had taken some time, we had engaged a graphic director that we had worked with in the past, and she had some great ideas, and we started to toy around with them because we thought, these are things that we can do ahead of the, closing on the acquisition and prepare us and kind of get out there, new colors, new brand, new logo, and more of that to come, that you'll see more and more rollouts over time.
Very cool. What is the scale of your team? You mentioned a graphic designer. Like, do you have all this in-house, or how many people are on like staff for Clik-Clik?
Yeah, so we have, so there's Chris and I, we're working in the business and on the business. We're working both sort of dual roles there. We've got a handful, sort of under 10 warehouse staff here. And then we've got an extensive sort of contractor, kind of part-time folks with, in different locations as well.
Cool. I mean, so you are a small business. I mean, I like pointing that out. I think sometimes we just think like, oh, this must be like some huge factory in some corporate office. It's like, no, you're out there hustling like we are.
You know what? That's it, right? Like we were just two guys who were looking for a bit, and you got, when you're looking for a business, you gotta, use the capital you have. And we didn't come from affluent back. We just, pooled some money together and borrowed a bunch from the bank and made it happen. And so, super happy that we did it, having a great time doing it. We think there's a ton of fun to be had in the future as well.
Well, I can't think of a better company to invest in, honestly. Like I can't say enough about the product. I told my husband the other day, I'm like, what a fun product to sell. Every time I go and I hang balloons with magnets, people stop and they're like, oh my gosh, that's how you do it. And I'm like, look away, don't steal my secrets. But it's like amazing. It's so impressive. It's just like, it sells itself, I think.
And that's it, and we really think we are kind of the solution for the balloon professional. And when you get on site with some of those tools, we keep hearing it time and time again that customers are coming back to the decorators saying like, oh, you clearly know what you're doing. Like you got the right equipment to get this done and to take advantage of the, the ceiling space that we have available with some amazing artistry and the right tools to get it up there. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. I have 3 questions. They have nothing to do with balloons. It's just for fun. It'll be the hot seat. And we'll be right back after this break. Hey listeners, before we wrap up today's episode, let's talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Balloon Guild. Do you ever see amazing balloon decor online and wonder, how did they make that? The Balloon Guild is revolutionizing the industry by standardizing recipes, SOPs, and offering unparalleled training. Their mission? To elevate balloon artists worldwide, ensuring efficiency, profitability, and unparalleled professionalism. For business owners and their teams, the Balloon Guild isn't just a resource, it's a game changer for growth and development. For me, it's been the ultimate shortcut in finally getting things out of my head and onto paper, so I'm not making things up on the fly, and so my team can work together to create consistent, fast decor. Visit their platform today at theballoonguild.com or by using the link in the show notes. New recipes and resources are released every month. All right, welcome back. I have 3 final questions. They are just for fun, just to get to know you, to hear a little bit of business advice, but also just your favorites. The first question, where's your favorite spot to vacation?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I've been to Mexico several times. We had a great time in the Mayan Riviera, and that's probably, I had my honeymoon there. We've been there a few more times, and that's probably our favorite spot for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. This one, what is your favorite material possession that you've purchased in the last 6 months?
So Sarah, when you invest in a company, all your money disappears. So there hasn't been a ton of those, to be honest. It's kind of going into the business, but let's see.
Come on, you have to have bought like something on Clik-Clik or
Boy.
Clik-Clik, something on TikTok that you love.
You know what? You know what? I went out and I spoiled myself, and I did buy a new set of golf clubs with permission from my spouse. And I had been waiting. I had a 20-year-old set, and she said, "You know what? Look, you're doing some great. Here you go." And so that
That's
was
awesome.
yeah.
And then this one is a little bit of business related, but what's one piece of business advice for our listeners?
So I'm glad you asked. I would say the one thing is, is like, don't be afraid, go for it. Like, so when I announced on LinkedIn that we had purchased this business, I got hammered by a bunch of old colleagues that said, "Oh my God, I want to do that. Like, how do I do that? Can we talk about that? Can I get a call going with you?" It was really a sort of a nice experience. But, like that was 6 months ago, and those folks are kind of doing the same thing. And it's like kind of that everybody kind of wants to write a book, and to write that first page is the really tough thing.
Yeah.
And I think from the business perspective, like, you just have to go for it. It isn't actually that hard. And to all of your listeners who have like actually created your businesses from scratch, I think you've already done the hardest work. Buying a business, I don't think is nearly as challenging. It's part of the reason we didn't start one. I don't think it's nearly as so if you've done that and sort of built up a customer base and have a business going, you've already tackled a mountain of issues that you'd already go through with acquisition, plus a mountain more. So, that's the one piece of it. Just go for it. Just do it if you want to do it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It was so nice to get to know you, and I'm sure we will all get to know you more. Do you have any upcoming events where we might be able to get to know you in person?
Well, so we're sponsoring the Metallic Balloonathon that has been going on. They just finished a location out in LA. I think
it looked amazing. I was texting my friend Lily, who's one of the instructors, and I was like, it gave me so much FOMO. I wish I was there. I'm like looking at the next two spots to see if I can schedule it in. It looked really, really good.
Well, that's it, right? And there's 2 more spots coming up. Check out metallic.com, check them out and check out their event page. That a lot of our stuff is going to be there. Bree, Sylvia again, she was out there showing our stuff, and we had like really cool kits out there. So
I saw those, man, the swag. You were not messing around.
No, we want to make sure we can put these goods in people's hands so they remember us and they think about us, and they want to use us. And we're always open to phone calls, web calls, whatever, if anybody's got any questions. But that's really the latest and greatest for us. And we may show up at the sort of the next locations, especially given the success of LA. So that might be our next stop.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you, Sarah. It was a real pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.